What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Yards After the Catch. I'm your host, Alex Young, and joining me is my buddy Nico. Nico, how you doing?
Good, feeling good, excited for a great week. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone, and happy football.
Yeah, happy football, happy Thanksgiving to all that celebrate. Yeah, there's a reason why it's Thanksgiving week. It's only the two of us. A lot of people are busy traveling, all that stuff. So this is not going to be a super long podcast, but we wanted to get something out this week. A couple key talking points. We'll talk obviously Thanksgiving football with Nico and his love of gambling. It is probably one of his favorite times of the year when it comes to gambling. But another exciting week of NFL action this week. A couple key storylines we're going to get to, but we're going to start off our first game here that we're going to talk about is the Packers and Vikings. And the reason why I want to dive into this is not mainly because of the Packers win and, them looking solid in the NFC. It's more about JJ McCarthy. Because, my God, what is Minnesota going to do here? So, Nico, I'll go to you first. We can kind of talk what were your thoughts on that game? And
Yeah,
then you can talk a little bit about what are you concerned about JJ McCarthy because it's looking kind of ugly right now. So, what were your
yeah,
thoughts of Green Bay and Minnesota?
yeah. It was just bad. It was just bad football around, especially out of the Vikings. Even Green Bay, like they dominated the game, obviously looked great on
Mm.
defense. You still have some questions about Green Bay, obviously, like a couple weeks ago with Carolina, and then earlier in the year, with the Browns. So like, there's always going to be a concern there, but yeah, Minnesota. JJ McCarthy is just not the guy. I wasn't high on him coming out of college at Michigan. He played in that system. Corum was a beast. They won the national championship, but I just didn't really like him as an NFL quarterback. Last year with the injury, you figure like if Sam Darnold played a playoff game, how Daniel Jones played a playoff game like 3 years ago versus the Vikings, in the first round this year, if we're talking about a different situation, is Sam Darnold still the guy in Minnesota if he doesn't and that collapse of the year last year? I don't know. They believe JJ was the guy coming forward, but he's just definitely not. All around looks bad. He had that great comeback earlier in the season versus the Bears,
Mm.
but before that, he played terrible for 3.5 quarters. So I really don't know if he's it. There's a big stretch coming up for him, and he just has to prove that he's worth it to be the guy moving forward.
Yeah, and he got banged up in that game, so it's questionable if he's going to play
Right.
this week. We'll see. He's in, I believe, concussion protocol right now. Um, but yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, the Packers defense showed out in that game because JJ was horrendous. And again, we still have questions a little bit on Packers. I completely agree with you there. But if you look at JJ in an NFL game, in a pretty much one of the key like must-win situations, now you're 4-7, and you're pretty much out of it when you had a little bit of a window. He goes 12 of 19 for 87 yards and two picks. You're not going to be a successful quarterback here if you're throwing under 200 yards a game. And we've seen that pretty much since he's come back from injury. When you have these dynamic playmakers, especially with the top five receiver, the fact with Joe Jefferson, the fact that you throw under 100 yards is concerning. And I've been talking to some friends, and we've been talking in our group chats and everything. It's it's like what is like did Minnesota really screw up here? I think is that the thing. And I know you said like I agree. This season you still have a good amount of games right now left, and if JJ's out, with concussion, but he saw some he'll be back by the end of the season. Obviously, it's like did they give up on the Darnold experiment too soon? And should they have just kept him around, still develop JJ instead of putting all this weight on JJ? Um, and I think that's what's now concerning. Looking at his play, I don't think he has the confidence in there, despite the weapons that he has. He seems to just give up on certain things and just not trust his instincts. And I think that's really showing right now. Obviously, he threw for sub 100 yards in a game, and I know that defense is insane. But it is kind of crazy to me that did Minnesota really screw their Super Bowl window now by going to JJ. And I was saying today to some people like the flags were there. Like
Yep.
he threw, I think it was 18 passes in a national championship game in college. You had Blake Corum, like you said, who dominated. The flags were there that this guy was a system guy, never really showed his arm talent, was just like game manager, was good. And I think Kevin O'Connell like loved that about him and thought he could escalate it, but now it's like backfiring because you he just doesn't have the tools right now. And again, that can all change. You can prove us on the season and maybe things turn around, but right now it's like it's crazy. It is it's scary watching because every week I'm like, Justin, why is Justin Jefferson not doing well? why is this not happening? It's crazy to see. So Nico, I'll get to your last thoughts or your rebuttal on this because, like, yeah, I'm just kind of shell shocked on what is
Yeah.
Minnesota going to do here. Like, are they going to move on from him? Is Kevin O'Connell going to admit his mistake? Because right now he's not admitting this was a mistake. Like, it is kind of weird in Minnesota.
I honestly think like I know like you say might not be playing coming forward, but do you give him one more year and just say like, hey, coming off an ACL, like the injury is there, like do you give him the benefit of the doubt? But I personally don't. But one thing I do want to hint at that we will get into later in the show, but Sam Darnold revenge game at Minnesota this week, so it's not going
Yeah,
to get easier for them or that organization. And
no,
as a Vikings fan right now, yeah, it's definitely troublesome. It's 100% troublesome because, like, realistically, like we saw what happened with great receivers. Like when you have a guy like Justin Jefferson, you had a guy like Calvin Johnson. Yeah, you had a Matthew Stafford, but they were never a contender. Like they made
mm,
the playoffs that one year, but they were never Super Bowl. Like you don't want to miss that player's window, and they might be doing that with Justin Jefferson.
yeah, yeah, and it's upsetting to see because again, Josh Jefferson's a talented guy. You see him getting frustrated, and usually he's not that type of guy. Like, yeah, wide receivers are divas for the most part, but you can tell now these last few weeks are really getting to him. Especially when Wentz, like when Wentz was in, he was getting targets. He was looking like Wentz is looking way better than JJ McCarthy, and actually played himself out of the season because he got himself hurt because he just kept on trying to battle through injuries. But now, that's the thing is like, do you give JJ another season? Do you bring in a competent veteran at this point and see if you can rock him for a little bit? Like, do you go for the draft in a not so huge quarterback market right now with outside of the top five? Like, it is really interesting to see what Minnesota is going to do here. Are they going to punt on this experiment, or if they're going to see what they can do, give him another year, bring in a veteran, and really try to push him. But time will
Yeah.
tell. But right now, the alarm bells are going on in Minnesota because we all had them as pretty much, a top team, a Super Bowl contending team, and we thought, okay, if JJ can just get by with that talent, they should be contenders. Now they're completely out of it. Like that division is brutal now, and it's top three
Oh, sure.
heavy. With this loss this weekend, they were done. I think if they won, you have an argument they can bounce back and continue it, but I think this is the end of the Viking season, unfortunately. So moving along, because we're going to talk a couple games here. We're going to talk about the Chiefs and the Colts, and my God, the Chiefs just don't die. Like every single week, we think like, hey, can we finally just get them out of here for a little while? Just stop talking about them. Nope. And I kind of blame the Colts a little bit on this loss, but they lose. The Chiefs win 23-20 in overtime. Chiefs keep their season alive. They go to 6-5. Colts fall to 8-3, and in a test of their season. Right? We all knew this was kind of the matchup to see if this team was real. I think they still showcase that they're a real team in the Colts. Daniel Jones, 1931, 181 yards, two touchdowns again. But the key thing here was that the Chiefs' run defense finally
Yeah.
stopped Jonathan Taylor. I like it's weird to say, but this was the game that he got stopped when he was just on cruise control. So again, Chiefs don't die. They keep their season alive. They're still in the wild card hunt. Colts take a little bit of a fallback here. So, Nico, what were your kind of thoughts in this game that the fact that the Chiefs keep the season alive and they keep on showing that they're not going to die?
Yeah, I mean, just a huge win for Kansas City. And as a Mahomes guy, like I'm so happy for the team that they're able to pull that off because I want to see them in the playoffs as always. Like it was getting worrisome as you mentioned there, but my biggest takeaway is like we talk about this week in and week out on the show. I've mentioned it, you've mentioned it, Brian, Alex, countless times. Like teams just don't know how to close out a game, and that's what separates a good
Mm,
team versus a great team. And you have three possessions at the end of the game. I know Kansas City's run defense was great. Jonathan Taylor didn't do much, but you have to, in order to win these games, in order to win big games in the playoffs, in order to win a Super Bowl, you have to be able to put a team away. And unfortunately, the Colts three straight drives where they just couldn't do that. I'm seeing right here three straight three and outs to end regulation.
mm.
I knew about the last two, but the Kareem Hunt fumble. After that, you don't do anything. They go down and score. But then you get two full drives back to back with a chance to ice out the game with the best run offense in the NFL, and he just couldn't do it. But hey, hats off to the Chiefs. Hats off to Mahomes. It's good for that defense. That defense is playing unbelievable, and they're a team that's going to be a threat down the road.
Yeah, I completely agree. This team, again, the Chiefs are a veteran team. They know how to win games. They consistently show that, especially in close games. They know how to do that against this Colts team, where I've seen Daniel Jones crumble and sometimes shine in those close game moments. I don't really, not putting the blame on Daniel Jones this week. I think, like you said, it was just a lot of missed opportunities here down the stretch for this Colts team. You got to take a loss like this. You got to learn from it. You kept this Chiefs team who's backed against the wall. You didn't beat them this week. Um, but again, you can't squander opportunities, especially against a veteran team like this and a defense that was playing as good as they were. Uh, but again, Mahomes threw for 352. He didn't throw for a touchdown, but Kareem Hunt reverted back to the old Kareem Hunt in this game. Again, a lot of veterans showcasing it and a veteran team knowing how to win in clutch moments. Again, like you just said, like you just have to learn in these moments. It separates you great teams from the good teams and good teams from the bad teams. I'm a Giants fan. I've seen my team crumble 4 times this year, including this week. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, hats off to the Chiefs again. They keep their season alive. Every single time we talk on this podcast, like they're done. I don't take them seriously. They pull off a win like this. They're third in the AFC West. Again, they have an opportunity to get into the postseason. Do I think they will? I don't know. It's a very, very tough AFC right now, and things are going to get tight. So, but they kept themselves alive. That's the key thing. At this moment of the season, you got to keep yourself alive. So again, we just wanted to quickly kind of talk about that game, just because we were talking before, like I don't know, I don't think the Colts, the Colts are probably going to win. The Chiefs are going to be done. Nope. Again, Chiefs don't die. It's just like I said, the same with the Patriots. Like that, we all have to talk about the Patriots again, and we're like, we only had 3 years where we couldn't talk about the New England Patriots, and we're all happy about it. But here we go again.
Yep.
So moving right along, I think this one's an interesting one, just because again we were talking about the division earlier, and that is Chicago defeating the Steelers, and I was thinking that the Steelers were going to win this game. But Ben Johnson has done a number on this team. Like he has completely turned the Chicago Bears team around because every single time they're in close games back then, I was thinking like, yeah, they're going to lose. And I thought about this here. They fought back. The Bears fought back down early, come back to win 31-28. They're 8-3, 4-1 at home. Who would have thought they were going to be one of the top teams in their division? But here we are. So I want to talk about the Chicago Bears. And
Yep.
Nico, do you see them as true contenders this year?
I don't. And this game was my fraud bowl. I really thought both teams were
Mm,
frauds. Both teams were not good. Um, Chicago has not played an elite quarterback in the past 7 weeks. I know everyone's seeing that stat. I know they haven't lost a game in forever, but I just really, really don't think the Bears have a tough schedule coming up. Philadelphia on Friday, at Green Bay the week after. So back-to-back weeks of just tough matchups where I really don't know if they're that great. I will say I am very impressed with Caleb Williams though.
hmm
Caleb Williams has been playing really well. I know last year he had to get his feet wet. A lot of expectations coming out of college, but we're finally seeing a bright spot there. So I really think that is a good thing for Chicago. But this defense worries me. The reason why the defense worries me is like Flacco put up 41 against you. You have Mason Rudolph putting up 28. Granted, there's a script sack with TJ Watt, and I know everything happens like that. But I just really don't think the Bears are elite where I think I just can't see them getting out of that first round. I do think they have put themselves in a great spot to make the playoffs, obviously, and they will make the playoffs. But I just really think that they lose a game to the Packers. They lose a game to possibly even the Cowboys. The Cowboys sneak in. Like I'm
The
trying to think
Cowboys
of
have grown, yeah.
all the possible scenarios that could happen. Like I really just think um, they're showing some bright spots, but I do have them on my big fraudulent alert.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I don't know if I have them on the big fraud alert. I always find it interesting with teams that win a lot of close games throughout the season, and if they're true, like if they're truly good or they're just like squeaking by. Again, when the Giants made their postseason a few years ago, they're winning a lot of close games, against these opponents, and the Bears are rocking it up. But again, I'm just impressed about Caleb Williams right now and how Ben Johnson has turned him around,
Fair.
especially in the clutch moments. And I completely agree with you about this defense because they are very hit or miss, and that's the thing that they have to get buttoned up quickly because again they gave up a ton of points early in this matchup against the Steelers, and then the Bears just plucked away and came back again and won a close one. So like I completely agree with you. I think there are more concerns on the defensive end, but the fact that Ben Johnson is able to get Caleb Williams to be clutch in clutch moments is impressive, and I give a lot of props to him because he's definitely cheering this culture around. Because again, a few years ago or even last year, anytime I saw the Bears were in a lead by three or had a lead in a close game, I knew they were going to blow it somehow, just somehow. So the fact that they kept that, I think that's honorable. I think for me though, speaking of frauds, I agree. The Steelers are the fraud here. Like
Yeah.
I think this is their free fall. Excuse me, and it's scary that the Ravens are back in this now. Like the
Yep.
Steelers are blowing a golden opportunity because the Bengals are not going to come back even with Joe Burrow. Like they're not going to. They have to go on some ridiculous win streak to even give themselves a shot.
Yeah.
Cleveland's done, and the Ravens were 1-5.
Yep.
And you had a golden opportunity, especially with the way they're playing against this Bears team early, to go away with the crucial win. They lost again, and now the Ravens have life. And that's why to me, I'm like, this team is going to crumble. Like this
Yeah.
Steelers team is going to crumble. The Ravens are going to find a way to get
I
in.
I
So
100% agree. I 100% agree.
yeah,
It's just destined for Mike Tomlin to go 9-8. That's all it is. It's
yeah,
like you never expected anything else from the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's just
no,
nine
yeah,
and
yeah.
eight.
It's 9-8, but I feel like this year could even be like, and I'll see if I can look get their schedule real quick. But like I just feel this year like they just might outright miss the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right.
Like
It's
which is like kind of surprising to see, like to
yeah.
say, because we've seen them like consistently just like sneak in somehow. But the way the AFC is shaping up right now, like you, they got to get some wins right now. I know, like I said, they're still first in the division, but the Ravens are right behind them with a little bit of an easier schedule coming up. But
Yeah.
like they have Buffalo next, Baltimore, Miami, Detroit, Cleveland, Baltimore. So in your
Thought.
next one, two, three, four, five, in your last six games of the season, I see maybe two wins. I think you could beat the Dolphins. You should beat the Dolphins at that point in the season, and you should beat Cleveland. If Shador
Yeah.
or Gabriel, which I think Shador is going to, and we'll talk about in a second, I think Shador is going to start the rest of the year. But the rest of the way, like, I don't think you're getting a win. Like Buffalo's backs against the wall.
They might get a miracle 9-8 after the Ravens clinch the division in week 17. So
Yeah,
they're not playing their starters in week 18. Doesn't
yeah,
matter, and they might get 9-8. But I do want to say, like, as if you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, you are just living in purgatory. Like you just can't do anything. Like 9-8, terrible, not a great draft pick. nine and
yeah,
eight, not a great draft pick. You have to blow
yeah,
everything up. You got to
yeah,
get rid of Tomlin. Tomlin's been there for years. I know it's a tough pill to swallow. You just got to blow the whole organization up, start over fresh, and rebuild. Because as a Pittsburgh Steeler, when you're considered like the San Francisco 49ers, Dallas Cowboys, same situation. Like when you're considered like these elite organizations, you don't expect division titles. You expect Super Bowls, and
yes,
that's the expectation they want to have. And in order to do that, they just have to blow the whole system up.
yeah. There's only so many wild cards you can make and lose. So
Correct.
enough's enough, right? And
Correct.
and, and I know it's a tough conversation, and like also me jealousy wise, like I wouldn't mind Tomlin to be the head coach of the Giants to
Okay.
rebuild
Okay.
there. And I know
Okay.
he's 9-8, but like I wouldn't hate him there. He's a cultural guy. Like I don't wouldn't hate him, but I do agree with you. It's the same conversation we had on the podcast a few weeks ago about Harbaugh. Like was it time for Baltimore to potentially say it's time to move on from Harbaugh? Now they're turning the season around with Lamar back, so like you're holding that conversation a little bit. But I can also see if they like do sneak in and make the playoffs and they lose in round one. I think same with the Ravens. Like you might have to have a conversation about Harbaugh that you're
100%.
you're losing the window with Lamar. Same with the Steelers. Like how many times can you consistently do this and not have postseason success? So again, I think it's a big hill to climb for Pittsburgh here. We'll see if they can do it. I'll be impressed if they can do it. But I agree with you. I think there's going to be some hard conversations at the end of the season for Pittsburgh at this point on if you bring back Tomlin because you can only have so much success. Again, and also with that, what you're saying about your draft pick is that if Rodgers packs it in or says he's going to play one more year, then you have to figure out your future of the quarterback. And lately, right now, the Steelers haven't done a great job of finding who's going to be the future quarterback. You're not gonna get that future quarterback pick, like high pick again, unless you blow things up and just decide to do a rebuild. So a lot of interesting conversations. We'll talk more Steelers down the line here because again, they got a big game coming up against Buffalo on the 30th. So we'll just have to see if they can get that win. Again, if they do, that turns everything around. That also will be putting up red flags for the Buffalo Bills as well. So moving along, we're keeping this conversation going. We're having a great time. We're gonna go over to Cleveland and the Raiders. And sorry, Alex Fernilio, that we have to beat down your Raiders team yet another week. We're gonna beat down my team shortly as well. But the Browns, of all teams, in the week of like, oh no, there's no way a Browns rookie is going to end that streak of consistent games lost by a Cleveland Brown starter. Um, Shador Sanders beats the Vegas Raiders. It probably one of the weird things like we've seen this year. There's been like again a lot of weird results. I was not expecting that one. I was like, "God, I'm not even gonna watch this game. And the Browns end up beating the Raiders. So sorry, Alex, that you had to watch what should have been a guaranteed win. But the Raiders get their ass beat 24-10. After that, Chip Kelly got fired. We'll talk about that briefly. Um, and then again, we have another comment because Myles Garrett had 3 sacks, and he's
Oh
doing some spectacular stuff right now. So, real quick, Nico, get your points on the Browns win over the Raiders.
yeah, I think the Browns dominated two aspects of this football game, and that was special teams and defense, and that's how they're going to have to win games. They had that big punt return that shut up the Judkins touchdown in the first half, um, and then they had that big throw by Shador on the run, which was a really nice play that he made, and Judkins running in again. And other than that, it was just really defensive. And obviously towards the end of the game, it got a little exciting. But one comment I do want to make, and I'm seeing this a lot on Twitter and X, everything, Instagram, and I don't think Shador's good. I really don't. I know everyone's saying rookie quarterback one, he's getting the hype. I know it's a controversial take right now, but he's just not good in my opinion. I think he's actually terrible. He made a good throw here and there, but he's making a lot of bad ones. I really think you get somebody other than the Raiders, like somebody like that can put a little more. Trying to think, like if he played the Cleveland Browns defense, I think Shador leaves that game under 30 yards. I know Max Crosby didn't have a great game. The defense was there for Shador, but he just doesn't look good in my opinion. Like the checkdowns, the routes at the line, not calling the protections. I really
His
don't
pick
like.
was atrocious too.
And bad. It's bad. And a couple of terrible, terrible throws. Now, granted, does he make the great play here and there? 100% that he does. He's a really good athlete. Um, I just think he should maybe start the rest of the year and be the guy because he's going to lose you games to get a better draft pick. I just don't think Shador's the guy. I was really shocked to see the Raiders lose this game.
Yeah, I was too. I was not big on Sanders coming into the draft, and again, a lot of people could say a lot of things about him, but like, I love Dion. Always been a big fan of his dad.
Yeah.
I loved I love Shador's like arrogance, his attitude, like his personality. Like that was that. Again, did he think he was better than he was? Possibly. But me looking at him at the quarterback position, like my rankings were, I loved Dart, I loved Ward, and then like everyone else to me was like a question mark, right? And Sanders especially, like I had him like I was always between like him and 3 and like 5, like I was just rotating different guys. Like I think he's athletic to the most part. He has an okay arm, but again, I think some of the decision making's meh. I think he gets a little antsy at times. He's easy to point the finger. And again, you watch this, like you look at his stats 11 of 20, 200 yards, a touchdown, a pick. That pick was atrocious. But like his, the pass that he had that went like 60 yards to Sampson was like, yeah, it was great. But it was like 8 yards behind the line of scrimmage. It was like he bombed the
Yeah.
throw. And then he threw that impressive pass. And we talked about that. You talked about it briefly. But like, again, I think he deserves another shot to start. Maybe you start him the rest of the way. You see what you have from him, and if you see he might be a guy and he proves us wrong, great. And the Browns might have finally found their guy. But if not, again, like you said, yeah, better draft pick. There's a couple quarterbacks at the top of the class. You can roll the dice again and you move on. Like I think Sanders showed enough. Like to me, where like he I think is better than Gabriel because I don't really trust Gabriel. Like I think Gabriel's ceiling is like a decent backup for the next XYZ years if he's lucky,
Yeah.
right, and finds the right thing. And,
He's
and
Cooper
Sand,
Rush.
yeah, and Sanders to me is like he has a little bit of a higher ceiling, and you have to see what it is right now. So just start him. Your season's lost. You're not contending. It's not the Michael Penix situation last year,
Yeah.
who was thrown into that right in a high pressure situation to try to win games, and it didn't work out in typical Falcons fashion. But see what you have for Sanders. And I agree with you. Like I don't think he is the like a game changing quarterback, but I think he should just start the rest of the way, and you can at least just see what you have, right? And you get people fans in because they want to see Sanders because he's a polarizing guy. So it'd be interesting to see that from him and from Cleveland. The other thing I want to talk about with you, Nico, and as a Giants fan, I get scared because Strahan has a single season sack record, and I always hold that like he's to me like my dad got LT right at him being Giants fan. My guy was Strahan. I got these dynamic Giants defensive players, and now we got Myles Garrett, who might shatter this thing. He had 3 sacks again. I have to see. I think he's at like 17 right now sacks. He's on pace for
Yeah.
like 30. So he had 3 again. I'll ask you, he's at 18. If I'm looking at, yeah, 18 sacks right now.
Wow.
He has to get to, I believe it's 20, it's 22 and a half, right?
Yeah, I think it's 22 and a
Sack
half.
record NFL, I think. Let me double check my notes so I don't sound like an idiot on our podcast. Um, yes, 22 and a half. It's jointly held by Strahan and TJ Watt, right? So I'm like, okay, like TJ Watt tied it, yay, like he didn't break it. Miles Garrett's going to shatter. I think he's going to shatter, but I'm going to ask you, like, do you think he's going to shatter the single season sack record?
Yeah, and I hope he does. I really do. Obviously, I think we all saw that viral clip of
Yeah.
that guy. I can't think of his name, and it's a shame on me. I don't know his name. I should. That went up to Brett Favre that he had the sack record, and he was upset that he took the dive for
Oh, it
Strahan. Did
was
you see that
yeah,
video?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't. I know who you're talking. It was a former Jets guy. I can't know who you're talking about
I
though. But
can't
he
think of
took the
his name,
dive.
but
Yeah,
I hope Garrett gets 30 sacks just for that guy to shut up finally. But
yeah.
besides that, he's just a great player, man. Like it is so fun to watch him like play football. I can't remember seeing someone like this dominant. And like the thing is, like this is like a crazy, crazy world. You'll never ever see it ever, I don't think. But like, if he does get the 30 sacks, do you ever consider him in the MVP conversation? Like
I
the
think
only
you
one
have to.
that's right, like the only one that's looked great has been Matthew Stafford, and like consistently, Drake May was up there in the leaderboard for a little bit. Obviously, fell off this past week, but like besides Stafford right now, and Jonathan Taylor not having a great week, Jackson Smith and Jigbo. Like I'm talking about non-quarterback players. It has to
Mm,
be Myles Garrett. It has
yeah.
to be Myles Garrett.
No, I agree. In the Jets player, it was Mark Gastineau who got
Mark,
annoyed
okay,
that
that's who it
Strahan
was.
broke his record when Favre took a dive and he said it shouldn't
Yeah,
have.
quote
It was
unquote
yeah,
dive.
dive. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was Gastineau. If you go back and watch that play, Favre knew what was coming, and if he didn't like fall on the floor, Strahan was straight up murdering him. Like it was going to
yeah,
be a blind kill shot. He was ready for it. I know Favre and him are buddy, but
yeah,
no, I agree. Like what he's doing right now is stuff we haven't seen from a defensive player in years and maybe ever. And again, like I think he's just one of the best players we've ever seen. And I think you put him in that conversation. I
yeah. And
might I might be wrong. The last defensive player to win MVP was Lawrence Taylor, I believe.
I'm looking
Uh,
right now. He's not even listed on FanDuel. I know there's DraftKings spot, but like I don't even see his odds on here.
that's great. Yeah, the last defensive player to win was Lawrence Taylor in '86. Alan Page won in '71. They're the only two NFL defensive players who have won the MVP award.
Wow.
So the fact that Myles Garrett's not listed yet and he's doing what he's doing is
I
kind of
just
wild.
I'm just checking DraftKings. Like I just can't believe he's not on the board because if he was like plus like 4 or 5 thousand, I might have threw a little sprinkle on him.
Yeah,
We'll get
you
to
might as
I
well at this point. He's like averaging like 3 sacks a game. Like it's insane what he's doing.
insanity. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm looking at this trying
No,
to
I mean,
this up.
but to me, like we
All
could,
right.
we could keep it going. Yeah,
DraftKings has them as Alex always says, sponsored by DraftKings, quote
yep.
unquote. Not really, but that's
Sponsor
what
us,
we do
but not
here.
really. But please sponsor us. Yep,
Uh, if you put a $10 bet, we'll win you 2,500 right now on Myles Garrett. Might be worth the $10.
it
I
might be
don't know.
worth the $10.
Might be worth $10 if you want to take it.
Like again, because again, this award has become so quarterback heavy,
Heavy.
right? It's like similar things to like you look at across the board with other awards across other leagues where it's like the big man usually wins Defensive Player of the Year in the NBA. Like it's rare that a guard wins. It's like certain like it just becomes such a court, and it shouldn't be. And there's times where yeah, like absolutely the quarterback was like this guy was absolutely unreal. Lamar, Josh, all those guys you can say that. Mahomes, but like when a defensive player is having a record-setting year, he should be in the conversation for MVP. Like he should be in the top three right now. It should be the two best quarterbacks and Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
It should be. Like he has 18 sacks, three forced fumbles, 33 solo tackles. Like again, he's a one-man wrecking crew for his team. Then I know the team, and again, you can argue, oh well, his team sucks, and you're not the most valuable if your team's losing. But come on, guys. Like we're a little over halfway through the season, and he still has like a bunch of games to go, and
100%.
he's on this pace. Like I have to see how many. Yeah, like trying to look at all this other stuff, like solo
Yeah, like
tackles,
I'm
like
surprised he's that high.
11
Like
assists and 18 sacks.
that's
Yeah,
nuts.
like
It's nuts.
it's nuts that that's the odds for him. What's the odds? What was the number?
What it was so right now it's plus 25,000 on DraftKings.
That's
And
insane.
then
And this
earlier in the
guy
game,
has
and he's minus 2,000 to win Defensive Player of the Year. So like the fact that he's that big of a favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year and he's not in
yeah,
the
but
conversation
not
is
in
ridiculous.
yeah, that's insane. Well, let me see. He has one, two, three, four, five. He has 6 games left. He has 18 sacks right now. So he's on
30's
pace to
there.
do
30's possible.
30 is possible,
It's
which is
tough.
insane. Like
It's tough,
it's
but it's
tough,
possible.
but it's possible. I agree. Like as much as me being the Strahan fan, being like, records about to get broken, guys. All right, like it is. It's the NFL. I would love to see it. I think the fact that Myles Garrett stayed in Cleveland when he didn't have to, he's been there. He's been like a bright spot for them. Like I would love to see him break it. And it's always great to see a great defensive player do crazy stuff. And again, he does this. He's locking. He's going to the Hall of Fame. I mean, like he's on that. He was on that trajectory anyway. But like, it's he's having a wild year. And again, I mean, Nico, if you see those MVP, just sprinkle it. Have fun. About
That's it.
$5, $2, $10. You never know. He could shock the world. Again, he could have 30 sacks. He could have 35 sacks. He can have 23, break the record, whatever. At the end of the day, we'll finish up with Myles Garrett. He should be in a conversation for MVP because he's been insane to watch. All right, moving along to an insane game. I wish I could show you on camera our messages. Maybe we could drop us. We'll probably post something later. We'll probably put a clip. I'll get a clip together. We'll talk Philly Dallas, where at some point, let me see if I can scroll back to our Cowboy fan Brian and what he said. We got a lot of memes to go through here, guys. We have a lot of memes. Uh, so I think he, oh yeah, so he messaged us. This is at 5:32 p.m. on Sunday for Cowboys Eagles. He goes, "Wow, Dallas, wow, embarrassed right now." Okay, so I'm looking at the score. I'm like, "Yeah, this is pretty bad." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm working. I can't really like focus on the game." Like, "Yeah, this is pretty bad." I work my show, do all this stuff. Look at the final score. I said, "What the hell happened?" But shortly before that, at 7:47, Brian messaged us, "Oh, that's a turn of events." So I died laughing to see that the Cowboys came all the way back from a 21-point deficit to beat the Eagles 24-21. And in the process, Dak Prescott passed Tony Romo for most passing yards in Cowboys history. Um, Pretty shocking result, Nico, I will say. Cowboys, again, now second in AFC. They're 5-5. They're not out of the playoff hunt yet. But from what we saw earlier from this Cowboys team, it's kind of shocking. So, what were your thoughts, Nico, between the Eagles and the Cowboys?
Just what a collapse! What an embarrassment out of the Philadelphia Eagles. The score 21 that early in the game and just like shut down. Saquon, awful performance. I mean, the fumble. I know it's terrible to see a fumble like that, but it was a great defensive play. But there's just something in the air about this Dallas team. Obviously, again, like hearts go out to Nealon and the family
Yeah.
with everything that happened, but like it like it. I don't know if it's that, but the defense like really nutted up that whole second half. They played unbelievable. The Eagles couldn't do anything. And it's just an ultimate collapse by the Philadelphia Eagles. Like we have a conversation. Again, we just had it with the Colts game. Like you just all you have to do in this league is put teams away. If you let a team hang around, anything can happen. And I wouldn't be surprised if Dallas gets a little momentum down the stretch. Obviously, a big game coming up versus Kansas City this Thursday.
Yeah.
At home ball Thanksgiving, like two teams that need the win. I'm really looking forward to that game, and we'll get into it later. But I think the Dallas Cowboys can sneak into a 7 seed and maybe shock the world if it maybe beat a 2 seed, maybe make a 6 seed. I really think they can get hot. They showed a lot of fight. I think Dak is a good quarterback personally, and George Pickens. Can we just talk
Yeah.
about George Pickens? Like unbelievable what he's been doing, especially these past 2 weeks. I really can't believe it. For a third round pick too, it's like the Steelers must be really kicking themselves over there. But anyway, yeah, George Pickens is an ultimate duo. If the defense continues how they played, especially in that second half, Dallas is a team that could be scary come January if they sneak into the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree with you here. I was surprised. I think Dak's been in sneakily in the MVP conversation. I don't think he's on the outside, obviously, but again, he's been having just a consistent year. Pickens has been unbelievable. Who would have thought a duo of Lamb and Pickens would be this great? And Pickens has been arguably a little bit better than CD at times this year. We all knew that Pickens was a little bit of a hothead, and he's shown that this year at times. But the fact that he's been locked in, especially in these big games and making big catches. I mean, 9 receptions, 146 yards, a touchdown. CD Lamb only 4 receptions, 75 yards. Like, not to do too much. And now, yeah, I think we knew this offense was really good with the Cowboys. We always knew the question mark was the defense. These last few weeks, I've been impressed with how this defense has shut out, especially in the run game. Like you hold Jalen Hurts 7 rushes, 33 yards. He had 2 rushing touchdowns. Like, yeah. But Barkley 10 for 22. He averaged 2.2 yards a carry. Like you don't see that too often, especially earlier in the year when that Cowboys defense was getting absolutely shredded. The fact that they dialed it up again, you could say Brown had a good game, 8 receptions, 110. Devontae had 6 for 89. Like it's all around. Like yeah, their secondary got a little toasted, but I mean the fact that their run defense is dialed up, the fact that they bottled up against this Eagles team to come back and win, like was super impressive. I think there's not a lot of questions with this Eagles team. I'm concerned about their offense, especially, and I know Desmond has mentioned about their offensive line, their play calling. I think this was a big game that showed that. It looked like early on it showed, okay, you're looking pretty solid, they're scoring pretty quickly, and then all of a sudden they just were inept. And I know you're 8-3, you're fine in playoff positioning and all that, but like they have to figure something out in fast. Like, this is like a weird team. Like the weird vibe is a weird vibe on offense for this Eagle
It's
team. And I know it's like you could blame offensive line, you can blame other things, you can blame certain things. Play calling, it's just weird. Like every week you're just reading something weird about something about the Eagles offense. Like what did you agree, Nico, about that?
Yeah, 100%. Sorry if you heard a bang. I don't know what that was above me,
Nah.
but yeah.
I'm coughing, there's bang, it's all good. There's noise.
Fun. Yeah, they're banged up too. Like they're just not healthy. But like the difference is like they ran over every single team last year. They just
Yeah.
ran over them, and like if you can't figure out that run game, it's going to be very very tough to repeat what you did last year in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. And again, like I think they were obviously they were a great running team last year. Like obviously. But they also like balance it really well when you have those two complementary receivers. You can do a lot of things. Like I don't think you can just flip the script on this team and make it now like pass heavy, especially with the offensive line issues. Like I don't like so I think they're in this weird spot of like what is our offense, and I
Yeah,
think that's going to just cause some things. And again, we'll see. We have a lot more season, a couple games down the line with the Eagle team, but I think there's a little couple flags popping up about this Eagles team. So it's gonna be interesting. Big win, like you said, for Dallas. Like I think teams need to be on watch now. Like they're back in the playoff hunt. Um, they're not out of it. And like I said, like you said, and me and you both agree, like if they can get their defense situated, that offense is really something. Like they have gelled really really well. So interesting game. Was not expecting the Cowboys to come all the way back. They did. Cowboys aren't dead. As much as I like to joke about them and wish them nothing but the worst because I'm a Giants fan, great win, honestly. Like great win by Dallas this week. Keep their season alive, and they go like you said, big game upcoming. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. Last game we're going to recap from this week. We're not going to talk about it too much because it was just an absolute blowout. But again, it's just it was a game we were all anticipating and hoping was a good game. But it kind of fell flat because the Rams just showed that they're a dominant team. The LA Rams defeated the Buccaneers 34-7. And they manhandled the Buccaneers on both sides of the ball. And Baker Mayfield left with the injury with his non-throwing shoulder with the AC joint. It looks like he'll continue to play. Again, he's questionable. That's a painful injury usually, even though it's a non-throwing shoulder. We'll see, but that game was well out of hand before that. I think he got hurt early fourth quarter of that game. But Nico, I just gotta want to talk to you about this game. I mean, we were talking about brief about Stafford and his MVP. I mean, like
Yeah.
25 or 35, 273, three touchdowns. Um, Devontae Adams has been insane, making crazy catches. Should we now just consider this Rams team the team that should come out of the NFC after yet another dominant performance against a top team?
Yeah, and it's not only that I think so. Vegas even told you they thought so this week. Clear cut after this performance. Stafford minus 220 to win MVP. The Rams plus 430 to win the Super Bowl. Not the NFC, the Super Bowl. Closest team to them is the Eagles at plus 650, which is like crazy that Vegas made them make that jump. This team is legit. I'm a big Matthew Stafford guy, big Sean McVay guy. And how about Devontae Adams? Like just rejuvenated. Obviously, tough couple of years with the Raiders and the Jets. Like couldn't really get going. Had some high moments at the Jets, but yeah, I'm super excited for this team. And their defense is playing great. It feels like 2021 again if you're a Rams fan.
Yeah, it's crazy to think 4 years later, after what we thought was a team goes all in, you usually think your team kind of falls apart a little bit. You don't have draft picks, you don't have draft capital. They are right back in the Super Bowl hunt. It's incredible to see this team build and this turnaround. From what we thought, okay, you bought all in, you put all the chips in, everything's going to fall apart. Nope, Rams are continuing to be the Rams. Stafford, one of the key reasons why. But again, I just wanted to do that kind of quickly, just
Yeah.
because it was just a big performance, and I think this Rams team should be the favorite. I mean, they've just been insane. Moving along, before we thought Thanksgiving game, we talked some of these games at length, but one of them we didn't really get to, and I'll just briefly was my New York Football Giants against the Lions, and I can go on a long rant here. I was
Take
riding
it.
high after the Jameis Winston trick play touchdown. I was like, here we go. We got this. Jameis is playing great. This is fun. I'm happy to watch the Giants again. Um, and then shortly after, I was I was humbled quickly as to why it sucks to be a Giants fan right now. As we were all riding high, slowly but surely the Lions start mounting and come back. Um, we decided to go on a fourth down in the red zone. We don't get it. The Lions come all the way down the field and kick a game tying field goal at 59 yards. This is probably like the sixth 60-yarder I've seen in my life do something awful to the Giants. It looked like it was a miss at first. So I was like, oh, perfect. We're going to win. And then knuckled back in somehow indoors to go through. Just my luck. Um, Lions go on to win overtime 34-27. Giants blow yet another 10-point lead. Jamar Gibbs had a massive long touchdown run in overtime on a play that Dexter Lawrence was not in due to injury. Um, but after that, Christmas came a little early for me because my huge rant all season finally came true as Shane Bowen is no longer the defensive coordinator of the New York Football Giants following yet another fourth quarter collapse, another blown lead. He's no longer there, and I've been clamoring for that, I believe, since week three. So it happened. And again, I don't wish for people to get fired from time to time, but for me, Shane Bowen was me. I flipped the script on that. Just the amount of games he's cost this team this year alone, enough was finally enough. And a lot of people are like, oh well, why didn't they do it when they fired Dable? I think Kafka needed to get an assessment of what the defense was, who was leading it, who was on the staff as the interim head coach. He got that quickly and then realized, okay, I can make my move. So he made his move. The linebackers coach will be the interim defensive coordinator. He'll audition for the rest of the year. Um, it was a must move. Again, things don't change much here. The Giants are 2-10. They suck again. Uh, we have some bright spots. Again, Jameis has been fun. Jackson Dart will come back. He'll be fun to watch the rest of the way. But yeah, it was just, it needed to happen. Shane Bowen's gone. I think, to me, not trying to be biased as Giants fan, I think just looking general, and Nico, you'll probably agree, I think this is the most disappointing defense in the NFL when you have that premier pass rush and they weren't as dynamic as needed to be. We were doing stupid things in close games and giving games away. And again, that could be play calling, that could be little things, that could be also personnel. I completely understand that too. It's not really just all in the coach, but there are certain moments with Bowen where they got too conservative, and it cost them. It happened
Yeah.
again with the Lions this week, and I was going to lose my mind. And I did because you have a close game and you keep on doing this like soft zone thing, and any good quarterback is going to take the 10 yards they can get, the 15 yards they can get, the 5 yards. And they had dynamic, like there was a curl route to Jameer Gibbs with like no one within 10 yards of him to get on the game time field goal. And I see him get it, and he's in open space. He makes a guy miss, and then he finally gets tackled. I'm like, where's some of the pickup Gibbs? Why are you giving a guy who's dynamic in space? So finally, he's gone. He's out of the building. And again, I don't want to go too long on my rant.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but he's out of the building. We'll see what this interim DC does. We'll see if he switches things up. We'll see if this team brings a little bit more pressure. There were some positive signs from this defense in this Lions game. They were really got to Goff. They really rattled him early. But again, with a veteran like him, with the offensive talent that he has, they found a way to win. I really would have hoped to put pressure on this Lions team and potentially ruin their season, especially with how that division's been right now. But of course, we can't have anything nice here. And the Lions keep their going. They keep themselves alive. So, Nico, I don't know if you wanted to talk a little about the game or what your kind of thoughts were on Bowen's firing of the Giants defense or something like that.
Yeah, I'll just be real brief. I want to say the Giants are in a top five spot in the NFL, in my opinion.
Mm.
You have your franchise quarterback. Yeah, you have a franchise receiver, in my opinion. You possibly have a franchise running back, and your defensive line is the best defensive line in football. Possibly going to lead the league in sacks for the second straight year. And you're going to have a top five draft pick. I really think, as Alex, I'm not trying to like tie off the ledge. It's been brutal. The past couple weeks have been brutal with the Giants blowing these games, but I really, really think the future's bright, and the Giants should be looking at the positives right now. You got the cancers out of there. I think the defense coach was a cancer. I personally like Dable. I liked him at Bama. I really thought he was going to be the guy, but the fact that he wasn't, Pittsburgh does move on from Mike Tomlin, like you mentioned earlier. I think would be a good fit for the organization. Get a winning coach in there. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I really think as a Giants fan, you should be really, really optimistic about the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, I agree. And again, I'm not on like the fire Joe clean house thing yet. I think Joe's done some good things, but I also think Joe's done bad things. But like, it's hard to be perfect as a GM. You have very
Yep.
few Howies in the world. You have very few, dynamic GMs. Very few Lynches with the 49ers. Like, you have very few guys that consistently have success in winning teams and formulas. They have to get this coach right. I think, like I said, I want a guy with experience. I don't want some hot shot coordinator from some college. I don't want some like hot shot coordinator, young guy from, we've done that 3 times now. It has failed 3 times. It's time to bring in a guy with experience. Like, again, I won't hate a McCarthy. I think he could be fine for a few years. I won't hate a Tomlin. We'll see what happens with that. But we need a guy with experience. Like, I agree, and I agree. I think this is a spot to be at. I don't think this is undesirable. Though I think there could be like a little Jaguar thing where like a candidate, it's like I don't want to have Joe Shane here. I want like a clean slate. I want a new GM. I wanted my guy like here, like so we can work in tandem. So it's not some weird like dynamic. Sure, but all in all, I think the future here is just bright. Again, it sucks like we're not competing, but I think like you look at this team going ahead, and there's definitely a lot of positives. I agree with you. Like I think we found our franchise quarterback. We have a dynamic receiver. We have hopefully a franchise guy for the next few years. Our running back. Abdul Carter can turn to like, and I'm not. And again, I'll just say this quickly. Like, I'm not the Abdul Carter guy. Like, oh, he doesn't have sacks. He sucks. I think he's been fine as a rookie. I think he's still learning some things. His sack numbers are low. Yeah, he doesn't have a sack yet, but I think he's helped at times. You have a great defensive line. You like Burns has been incredible. If Myles Garrett wasn't having the season he's having, you could have him as an argument as defensive player of the year. So there's a lot of positives here. This had to happen. Agreed. I think you're slowly seeing the Giants finally just getting things out of the building just to see if things turn around.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Speaking of things getting out of the building, real quick, we're not Raiders fans, but we know Alex is happy about this. Even though, again, in typical Raiders fashion, they're going to have to pay a guy a lot of money to get him out of the building. But following that loss against the Cleveland Browns, the highest paid offensive coordinator, Chip Kelly, got the boot. He didn't last a single season with the Vegas Raiders. Think about that. The highest paid offensive coordinator in football doesn't last a full season. He got booted. Again, I think this needed to happen. Would I have made Chip Kelly my highest paid offensive coordinator? No. I think there's been times when we've seen this. I think this is last time. This might be the last time we see him in the NFL. Who knows? He might go back to college. He might. Who knows about? But he's not getting the money that he got from Vegas. That's for damn sure. I
Yep.
think he did a lot of things wrong here. We've definitely seen the regression of Geno Smith. We've seen him try to change things with Genty, his stance, his all those things that didn't work, and now we see, ever since he's kind of gone back to what Genty's been familiar with, he's had a positive the last few weeks. But this offense has been underwhelming at best with the weapons that they've had. They should have been a dynamic offense, especially when you have the best tight end in football. I don't know, you can blame the Geno regression on Geno, but there's also moments where I was questioning some of the play calls and he just didn't seem comfortable. Geno didn't seem comfortable with Chip Kelly. So things have to happen, and I think Pete Carroll needed to do this now to save himself. I don't think he's getting fired after year one. I think they'll give him a year or two to set the culture there. I know he's getting older; he's not getting younger. But real quick, Nico, like, what were your kind of thoughts on Chip Kelly getting fired? Like, to me, I don't think we have too long-winded, but I think it was pretty much warranted.
Yeah, no, I think it was fine. I don't hate it. I just hate that you wasted all that money on him.
Yep.
To do so, like that's just my biggest thing is like at that point, you just let him finish out the year. You're not going anywhere. I really think that could be it. But I don't hate the decision. But if I'm Chip Kelly, I'm begging myself back at Ohio State. I'm figuring something out. Get me back on a college team. Get me in there and let me do something. Coming off a national championship and getting fired in week 12, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely not an ideal situation. But like you said, really don't hate the move. Um, it, Geno's been bad, but the offensive line's been bad. But
Yeah.
are they getting set up for failure, as you mentioned, with the play calling? Like their offense is so predictable. That whole entire game versus the Browns, it was throw a bomb on first down, incomplete. Second down, it was a handoff to Genty for 4 or 5 yards. Third down, incomplete, punt. It was the same
Yeah.
exact plays every single time. And someone who had a big bet on the Raiders, I was very frustrated.
Yeah.
And I bet Alex was frustrated as well.
Yeah, I think Alex was good. Alex said like hell yeah, all caps when I said the story that he got let go. Um, I think everyone's wrong. I think every Raider fan, anyone bet on the like they were in a winnable spot here against Cleveland. They should have beaten Shador Sanders in Cleveland. They did it, and again, we just saw another week of like, what the hell is this offense? And we just saw them just put up a stinker against Dallas on national TV. Like I was sitting there, I'm
Yeah.
like, I like was playing video games in my office. I was like, look over, I'm like, this is terrible. Like I was just like, I'm not even watch this game. Like I'm like, it's what I was like, screw this. And then same thing with the Cleveland game. I'm like looking at some of the things. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? So I agree with you. I can probably see Chip Kelly getting some opportunity in college again because somehow he always finds his way, he maneuver his way back to college. I think that could be the case, but I don't know about the NFL at least for a little while, especially because he's one getting paid by the Raiders to get booted out of the building, and two because of how awful that offense has been. So that was the week that we want to discuss here. We've been cruising along. So now it's time for where we have some fun. We got two different pick'ems that we're going to do. Nico has some plays that he's going to tell us as well. But again, it's one of our favorite weeks of the season here as gamblers, here as just watching sports. It's Thanksgiving Day football. Growing up, we all had the moments with our family, just throwing the pigskin a little bit outside in nice fall weather, and then coming inside and watching some football. So we got three pretty exciting games. Pretty
Yeah.
exciting. I would say the night game, the Bengals Ravens, could be a little eh. There's some excitement with maybe Burrow and if he's playing or not or whatever, if he's back and like does that make the game a little more interesting? But we're gonna go in order of the games. And me and you talked a little off camera here. Green Bay, Detroit. I was a little surprised here with the spread being Detroit in 2.5. Over under is 48.5. And the lines of the money minus 142. This is early again. We're recording this, guys. Just a heads up. We are recording this on the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, so things are subject to change here. Our opinions are subject to change between now and Thursday, and eventually, when we do these rapid fire picks for the Sunday games, things our spreads might be different. So I just wanted to call that out. But Nico, when you're looking at this, like, what is your initial thoughts? Like, what are your plays for Packers lines?
Yeah, I'll get into my player props and I have a Thanksgiving parlay for you guys later that we'll get
Yeah.
into. But right now, this pick in this game, as Alex mentioned, we had a little conversation about the line. The line did surprise me. Especially I thought like I might have been a little bit higher, like maybe even up to 3.5, because 3.5 to 2.5 is a huge, huge swing in
Yeah.
Vegas. Like that means it's a huge, huge points differential. But it makes you like the Packers. And the reason why I like the Packers in this game is I really don't think Jared Goff could handle the pressure as we saw against the Giants.
Yeah.
I know they ended up winning the game, but like he just struggles against the pressure. And I really think Parsons gets to him in this game with a big sack late, possibly a strip sack, and Green Bay wins this football game.
Yeah, I agree. I really like the Packers here. I know I tell a lot of people, and I said last week, like when I see the Lions in short spreads like this, I usually hammer the Lions. But what I saw from this Giants defense last week, I completely agree with you. Like Goff was rattled,
Yeah.
and the Packers are a way better team than the Giants, and I think they have as dynamic of a pass rush like the Giants as well. So I like the Packers here in the 2.5 right now. Again, things can move and things can change, but right now I'm looking at that. I might go Packers 2.5 and lay some money down. Um, just because, like you said, like I think if they get the Goff early, he's rattled. The offense, and I know the offense for the Packers has been up and down as well. But if that defense gets into him early, we saw with the Giants, like he just had no idea what he was doing until he finally got some moments of life. And I don't think the Packers are going to give him moments of life. I don't think the Packers are going to let give like a Shane Bowen kind of performance to give him confidence. So I like the Packers right now at 2.5 as well. Moving along again, next game. This one we talked about earlier is going to be interesting. It's Chiefs on the road at Dallas. Chiefs are favored -3.5. Over under is 52.5. So they're thinking of a shootout, which I would expect. Chiefs are the favorites here on the money line at -185. Nico, what are your kind of thoughts on Chiefs Cowboys?
Yeah, I was shocked to actually see all the public actually be on the under in Dallas. With that being said, I like Kansas City in this game, and I think it is going to be a shootout. I really think it's going to be a back and forth fun game. This is the game on Thanksgiving you want to have.
Yep.
I really think Kansas City's defense makes a big play late, but I do think Dak shines in it as well. I can see Kansas City winning this game like a 31-28 shooter, or even like a 31-24, something like that. But yeah, give me Kansas City and give me the over.
Yeah, agree with you there on both. Give me Kansas City. Give me the over. I think it's going to be a fun, exciting back and forth. Both teams try to keep their seasons alive and bounce back. I just think the Chiefs are just a hair of a better team right now than Dallas, especially again, unless the defense shows up again. But who knows? Big moment here. We'll see if that Cowboys defense can show up. Um, but yeah, the Chiefs is constantly proving us wrong every time we've bet against them. I'll go with the Chiefs here. But again, I agree. I think this is going to be a shootout. This is hopefully a fun one for us fans here on Thanksgiving. So yeah, I agree with you, Neil. Give me the Chiefs. Give me the over. Lastly, before we go into the Black Friday game, and then we'll get your Thanksgiving player prop after this game, and then we'll talk Black Friday game. We got the Bengals on the road at Dallas. Joe Burrow could be making his return. If not, it would be Flacco. But the spread here is -7 in favor of the Ravens. Over under 51.5. On the money line for the Ravens is -375. This one was a little interesting to me, especially with it being a divisional game. But Nika, what were your thoughts when you saw this initial number?
Yeah, it's weird. Like you mentioned, like it's a Tuesday, so we gotta wait on Joe Burrow news. I just don't know what's gonna happen there. But the reason why I lean Baltimore in this game is the Bengals' rush defense is pitiful,
Yeah,
and I really think Lamar's somewhat healthy now. I think he's gonna run for a lot. I think Derrick Henry's gonna run a lot. I really think the Ravens just run all over the Cincinnati Bengals, and I wouldn't even be surprised to see a high scoring game. Or just the Ravens just dominating. If Joe Flacco is the quarterback, I really think it's tough. It's a weird area because like that's
it
such a
is a weird
big
one. Yeah,
difference. It's so hard. But the storyline is I'm just going or Baltimore either way because the rush defense is just not going to hold up for Cincinnati.
Yeah, I agree. I don't trust the Cincinnati defense at all. We've been hammering it on this podcast. We think they're one of the worst in the league. Ravens need a big win here. They will be right back in the playoff hunt, potentially right back in the division lead. Um, I think Lamar's gotten more and more comfortable again. He's had some shaky moments, but this is a perfect spot to line him up and get his confidence back. And Derrick Henry's looked like Derrick Henry of old these last few weeks. So give me the Ravens. Give me the points. Again, I don't know about the over under because this is a weird one. It's like Burrow's there. Again, agree with Burrow or Flacco. And even then, if Flacco's there, it's like it still could be a shootout, but at the same time, it could be that weird division game where it's like Ravens win like 17-10. Like or
Yep.
a 24 set, like it's just like or whatever they covered. It's like it's gonna be one of those weird things. It's either gonna be a divisional blowout or like a close one. Keep your eye on this. I think it could be an interesting one, especially if they announce that Joe Burrow is coming back. So with that, Nico, I'll let you do your Thanksgiving player prop.
Yeah. So I have a 3 leg parlay, 1 leg in each game, so you can sweat the whole entire day.
Yep,
2 legs that
as
I
we love.
don't have in it that I do want to mention for the night game. I really like Derrick Henry and Lamar yards, as I just mentioned. I really think they both run all over that. Not in the parlay, but just wanted to throw that out there. Um, but my official parlay, we're going to start off weird with one of my favorite players in the NFL, Brandon McManus. I have him over 1.5 field goals earlier in this
Huh?
game. I really think the Packers have struggled somewhat in the red zone. Josh Jacobs is going to go. I don't know yet. It's questionable. I think they can get stopped down in that Lions territory, and Dan Campbell, being the sicko that he is, might get a turnover on downs or something where you're already in field goal range. So I really think the 1.5 is a good play here. Um, my second pick is CD Lamb over 73.5 yards. As I mentioned, I like a shootout in that game and I like Kansas City. So I think the Cowboys are going to be forced to pass the whole entire game. And also, with that being said, it's been George Pickens nonstop. George Pickens, George Pickens, George
Yeah.
Pickens. You got to feed your star wide receiver. Granted, he hit this number last week. He only had 4 receptions, but he had 75 yards. His receptions might also be a play as well, which probably will sit around right at 6.5. Next, and the final play, we'll go to the night game, and that's going to be a Jamar Chase touchdown. Coming off suspension, I really think they're going to feed him, especially if it's Joe Burrow. It's going to be that quick little slant, quick little fade route. But even if it's Flacco gets so many pass attempts a game. I really think Jamar, especially with T. Higgins out, will find his way into the end zone.
Yeah, I love all three of those. Again, I love the Thanksgiving sweat one, where it's like you hit the first one and then you don't know about the others, or it's like you lose the first one and then you degen it and you just kind of find other parlays to do for the rest of the day to keep yourself. So
100%.
I love the long day parlay for Thanksgiving. It's a smart play. So those are the Eagles plays. Make sure to follow me. Has a good record so far on the season, especially with his plays on the podcast. We'll move along to the rest of the pick'ems that are happening this week. Again, a lot of good stuff happening in the NFL. There's a game on Black Friday, which is going to be fun and exciting and interesting. As the Bears are at the Eagles, and again, we talked about this earlier. This is a big game for both teams. Is this the fraud Bears team, and they get steamrolled by the Eagles? The Eagles bounce back after a tough loss. Spread right now is -7 in favor of the Eagles at home. Over under is 44.5, 325 on the money line. Nico, what are your thoughts on that one?
I'm personally staying away money wise on this game, but for the podcast sake, I will be taking the Eagles. I do think the Eagles coming off a loss are going to be hungry, and Sirianni's going to have the boys fired up. And like I said earlier in the show, I just think the Bears are the most fraudulent team in football right now. And I stick by it. I think Caleb Williams struggles possibly in this game, but give me the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, I agree. I wasn't like you thinking they're the fraud team, but I think the Eagle team, especially after a bad loss like they had against the Cowboys, I think they bounce back at home. They get things together. I think they'll win by a touchdown. I don't know if I'm going to lay money on this either, but if I'm going to have to pick, I'll give the Eagles. I'll give them the 7. Um, Again, in a bounce back spot here, I think they should get the win. All right,
Yep.
moving over to Sunday. We got a couple interesting games and a couple dud games. It's one of those weird things where you get a good Thanksgiving slate and then the Sunday slate it's kind of meh. But to start us off, it's another tough test for the Indianapolis Colts. Again, this is on Tuesday, so things might change here. But the Texans are on the road at Indianapolis. The Colts are favored -4.5, over under 44.5. Colts are favored -225. If people don't know, I'm just going to say on the podcast, this Texans defense these last few weeks have been a top five defense in the league. I was blown away by their last game of what they did against Buffalo. That was I've never seen Josh Allen that rattled in my life. So just want to put that out there. Nico, your thoughts on Texans Colts?
Um, this line being 4.5. This was an other surprising line from Vegas with me. Vegas just screams they really like this Houston team and they like
Mm,
defense, and I agree. I like Houston. Houston coming off 10 days to prepare with the number one defense. Playing a team playing like the number one defense is quite incredible. Having that Thursday game, those 3 extra days are huge, huge for the film, huge for rest and recovery. Give me the Houston Texans and outright in this game in
yep,
Indianapolis.
yep. I agree. I am probably might be my hammer of the week. Like again, you might have C.J. Stroud. You have Davis Mills. It looks like C.J. Stroud with the extra rest should play in this one. He's back with that defense. He just has to be competent enough, which we
Yes.
know C.J. Stroud could be in and out offense line. But Davis Mills has won the last three straight games. So this Texas team is on the ground running. They are making a run here. Give me the Texans, and like I said, this might be my hammer of the week because I think this defense is insane. I don't know if the Colts can bounce back. They're in a bounce spot they could, but I really like what the Texans are doing right now, and especially if they get C.J. Stroud back, I think this changes the whole dynamic of this Texans team that's playing with a lot of confidence. So give me the Texans there outright. Uh, Again, moving on. Next game, this is kind of I guess you can call it a dud. You got Jacksonville at Tennessee. Jags favored -6.5 over under 42.5. They're -298 on the money line. I'm probably avoiding this game. I can just go real quick. Give me the Jags. This defense, this Titans team is just trash on both sides of the ball. They've had some moments here and there, but overall, there's a bad team. Jags need to get this win. Big win again to keep their postseason hopes alive. So give me Jacksonville. If you're gonna put money on this, just give me Jacksonville outright. Nico.
In my non-podcast plays, the plays that I give out, the people that follow those picks, um, you know how I feel about this Titans team. You know I bet Tennessee every single week, and I'll be betting them again. I'll buy the number up to 7.5. I don't know what it is. I just have this like niche to bet on these worst football teams in the league, and I can't explain it. Besides the Saints, I hate the Saints,
Yeah, you
but
do it. The
I
Saints.
I like I did it a couple years ago with the Giants. Like I a couple years ago with the Jets. Like I just find this team and I just constantly bet them week in and week out, and
It's gonna
that's
it's has to hit at some point.
and no, guess what? It's been working. Like last week, I bought the number up to
Yeah.
14.5. We had a winner. Again, I'll probably buy this up to 7.5, give myself the extra possession, and give me the Titans.
Again, you're here first. Again, I don't hate it. I think the Titans are bad, but again, you can have fun with a bad game like this. Like find a way to have fun when you do something like this. Moving along, another game. I'm like kind of surprised, but not surprised by the spread. It's the Rams at Carolina. Um, Rams are favorite 10.5 over under 44.5 -750 on the money line. The spread for me is a little rich. This Panthers team has proven to be a little chippy at times. If I'm looking at like I might take the Panthers in the spread. I think the Rams are going to win, but I wouldn't be surprised if they catch this if the Panthers catch this Rams team off guard and keep it a little bit close. Nico, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, this is nuts to me again by Vegas. This is Vegas saying that the Rams at home would be a 16.5 point favorite, which is bonkers. Like,
Yeah.
absolute. Like, so maybe I take back what I said about the Bears. Maybe the Panthers are the new most fraudulent team. But, anyways, I, again, with the spread being like this, every time I see a weird spread like this, I always bet with Vegas. Give me the Rams. I know the Panthers have proved themselves that they are better than a line like this, but the Rams is playing like such good football. Give me the Rams by 20 plus in a blowout,
All
absolute
right.
blowout.
Again, this is me. That's like the weird game I look at where I'm like, it could go either way. I
Yeah,
think it's like fun that the Panthers could, but like I would also not be surprised if Matt Stafford's sitting by halftime because the game is like 34-3.
great.
Uh,
Yeah.
Move along to the next one. You got the 49ers on the road at Cleveland. Big game for the 49ers here, coming off a Monday Night Football win. We didn't talk about it on Monday Night Football. It wasn't a game. It was a boring watch.
It was
Uh,
three
but
picks.
yeah, Brock Purdy threw three picks and still ended up winning. That just
Yeah.
shows how weird the Panthers team is. But 49ers are favored -4.5 over under 37.5 -245 on the money line. Nico, what are your thoughts on this one?
Again, I'm going to take the Browns. I really like the Browns, the points. Something that if this line does go up right now, it's at 5. If it
Mhm.
goes up to 6, maybe buy it up to 7.5. Right now, it might be too much of juice to do that. But um, if Purdy looked that bad against the Panthers defense, who has been not good,
Yeah.
um, imagine what this number one defense in the NFL, Myles Garrett's going to do. Myles Garrett might eat a little bit this week. I expect a couple turnovers to get forced, and the reason why I think San Francisco wins the game is because of Shedeur Sanders. But I really, really like the under in this game. I really just think 38. I think it could be a 7-3 or a 10-7 victory.
Yeah, if I'm gonna sprinkle anything on this, it would probably be on the under of this game because I completely agree with you. I think this is gonna be a weird, ugly game that the 49ers will find a way to win, but it's gonna be a low scoring, weird one. And I agree. Like I was trying to see the player props haven't been released yet because again, it's still crazy
No,
early in the week. I do wonder what Myles Garrett is for a sack or like two or two plus sacks because I might look at that and sprinkle some money there as a player prop. But yeah, I think that one's gonna be a weird one, especially coming off what we saw Monday Night Football with Brock, and if this defense can get to Brock, which they probably can, I think it's gonna cause some weird things. So yeah, if I'm looking at this, I'm probably looking at the under with you as well.
yeah.
Um, Speaking of bad teams, we got a bad team matchup. We got the Saints on the road at Miami. Dolphins favored -6. Over under is 41.5. Dolphins are favored on the money line at -265. I'm probably avoiding this game. If anything, I'll go Dolphins with the points because I think their offense can put up some points against the Saints defense. But again, this is probably just like a gross game that I will just watch only through the lens of red zone. Nico, what are your thoughts?
Awful game. Yeah, both teams not great. But I think the boys continue to play for McDaniel, and just imagine if this team pulls off and goes 9-8. Imagine they go 5 out of their last 6. Like I'm not saying they can't, um, but to keep it brief, they got a game against the Saints, the Jets, then the Steelers, then the Bengals. They really have a possibility to win the next 4 games, which is sickening to say. But give me the
Yeah.
Dolphins.
Yeah, it's kind of funny to think about when we're talking about before how we think like McDaniel's done, but like the fact that like if he pulls this team within 9-8, like you can't really fire him
Correct.
because again, it's just like a unbelievable coaching job that he was able to pull this off with the injuries and everything that took place with this team. I don't know, like you trying to fire your coach when you fail at doing that would be just such a Dolphins like funny thing. Like I would just be dying laughing.
Yep.
Um, Speaking of dying laughing, I'll probably be dying laughing watching this game because this is going to be probably another ugly one. We got the Falcons at the Jets. Michael Penix is out. He, unfortunately, I really like what I was seeing from him. I know their season's been up and down, but he has to get ACL surgery yet again, which now brings a lot of questions for this Falcons team and what their future is. But right now, they are the favorites on the road at -2.5. I guess Kirk Cousins will be the starter over under 39.5. I'm probably looking at the under here. -142 on the money line. Nico, this is probably gonna be ugly. I don't know if you're putting anything on it, but what are your thoughts on this game?
Probably gonna stay away, but I'm gonna take the Jets. I think I'm actually shocked at how bad Kirk Cousins is. I can't believe I didn't
Yeah.
realize this until these past 3 weeks. Is how I realized how bad he actually is. But give me the Jets. Like I said early in the week, maybe we'll do a player prop here, but nothing right now.
Yeah. Again, I'm surprised with just how bad he's been. He's like one of the few players. Like I feel like the Achilles injury has gotten so successful over the years with players that we've seen between like Kevin Durant, Rodgers coming back looking good, all these other dynamic players, and we're like, it's Kurt. He did it. He'd be fine. He comes back. He'd be cool. And no, he's been one of the people that injury has proven to be pretty devastating to him. Um, Moving along, this one's kind of surprising, but again, like we said before, this is Tuesday. We don't know if Baker Mayfield is playing. He had that shoulder injury in the loss against the Rams. We got the Cardinals at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's favored only -3 right now. Over under 44.5, -155 on the money line. This again is at the moment is probably in a void until we figure out what happens with Baker Mayfield. Nico, what are your thoughts?
I'm gonna take Tampa Bay. Like again, like you said, early going on. Even with Teddy Bridgewater being the quarterback, it's Teddy Bridgewater versus Jacoby Brissett. Be an interesting matchup. Um, I just think give me Tampa Bay. Is Bucky Irving status? Do we have that for this game or not?
His, I don't think we have it yet. All eyes look like he would be back for this
Okay.
one, but there has been some like weird thing. And just so for context for people who are listening on the podcast, he was supposed to come back like last week, but then he said that he needed some additional time because the injury really like rattled him both physically but also like mentally. So he needed some time away from everything, and he was with his family and getting the support he needed, which is like awesome to hear. But it was just kind of like a weird dynamic of that something happened post injury and he just needed help he needed. So it looked like he was trending last weekend. Todd Bowles said he was trending in the right direction to play this week, but I don't think we got anything official. I'll look at it real quick. But I just wanted to give people the context if he is playing this week. Let me look and see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either way, I think I'm going to lean Tampa Bay here. Just a team that's hungry. You got to win this time of the year. Um, and yeah, just I mean, as sick as and like I don't think Carolina's a threat, but you are still tied with them right now. So
Yeah.
you gotta
You
win
got to
football.
get the win.
You gotta
You got
get
to
the
get
win.
the. He is expected. He's on track to return this week for
Okay.
Bucky Irving. So again, that's another promising thing for like a Teddy
No.
Bridgewater if he has to play. And then we just have to see what happens with Baker. Again, his status remains unknown, but Bucky should be back on the field. But yeah, I agree. This is a big game for Tampa Bay, especially as weird as it to say, of all the teams that are on their heels, it's the Carolina freaking Panthers. I don't think any of us expected us to be saying that
Correct. And
this
I just
year.
want to say real quick, shout out Sean Tucker, put my Syracuse on.
Yep.
Somebody sign him next year if you could, because the kid's the real deal.
Yeah, I mean, he had that great game a few weeks ago, and then now he's kind of stuck in like a weird spot with Bucky Irving coming back.
Yeah.
I think a team will give him another shot. Or maybe Tampa Bay moves on the depth chart and keep him and they'll keep Bucky, but I think they might, number two could be on the move. Uh, moving on to the 4 o'clock games, we got a few, couple duds and then a couple exciting ones. But mainly duds, like 3 out of 4 good 4 o'clock games. We got Seattle at home against Minnesota. Like we said, we got the Sam Darnold revenge game. Spread on Tuesday right now is minus 10.5 in favor of Seattle. Over under 41.5 and minus 600 in favor of Seattle. Nico, we talked about this briefly earlier, but what is your thoughts on this matchup?
I got a route. Give me that's my second 20 plus blowout of the weekend. Give me Seattle in an absolute route. Give me Sam Darnold props, everything, touchdowns, yards, anything. Give me Sam Darnold. Give me the Seattle Seahawks by 20 plus.
Yep, completely agree with you there. Hammer everything Seattle, and then if you're gonna hammer something else, hammer JJ McCarthy on the under because
Yeah,
I don't think he's gonna get above 180. I don't know what the over under is right now. It's probably or it hasn't probably been released yet, but he might not play too. There's another thing too, so keep an eye out for that. But if he does play and he clears protocol, yeah, take his under. I think you take his under the rest of the way until he proves you wrong. But yeah, that's what I look at. And I think again, since his status is up in the air, that's why it's a little lopsided. But I think it's also just Sam Darnold showing you should have paid me, you should have kept me. We would have been Super Bowl contenders. But look where you're at now. Sorry. Um, Speaking of potential blowouts, we got the Raiders on the road at the Chargers. Chargers are now opening up minus 10 on the spread, over under 41.5, minus 600 on the money line. I'm probably staying away from this game.
okay.
Uh, it's so weird because again, like this is like a division matchup. Herbert's had like a couple weird weeks. If I'm gonna do anything, I might like tease down that Chargers to like a touchdown instead of
Okay.
10. I think it could be something like that. But Nico, what are your thoughts on that?
I really like the over. Usually when a team gets rid of an offensive coordinator, it's a weird spark in that
Mm,
offensive room. Like you do a couple fun plays. So I do think there's going to be an over. But I do think the Chargers ultimately win and cover this game. But I could see it being like a 31 to 14, 31 to 17 type victory.
yeah. This Chargers team we were talking glowingly, and then they're like this weird team that they have like weird losses and all. But again, they should win this one. They need to win this one. Moving on to a must-win game. It's Buffalo on the road at Pittsburgh. Bills minus 3.5 kind of close one, as people are predicting around. This is as of Tuesday. Over under 47.5 minus 185 on the money line. I'll go first. Give me the Bills. Give me them a 3.5. Their backs are against the wall here. They need to turn things around. I think the Steelers team's a fraudulent team. Who knows if Rodgers playing? We'll see. He's up and down right now. Trent are playing, but who knows? Give me the Bills. Give me the 3.5. I think they're in a huge bounce back spot. This is a big win for them. Otherwise, I think a lot of us are going to say the alarm bells are going off in Buffalo. Give me Buffalo. Give me the 3.5. Nico.
Yeah, Buffalo's been the most inconsistent team in football. It's been bad, good, bad, and now we're on a really good track right here. So I really think they are going to show out and win the game. Like I said, I just don't think Pittsburgh's good, but I just can't see Buffalo at this time of the year. It would be an unrealistic statement coming on the podcast next week to say, I can't believe the Bills lost 3 out of their last 4 games.
Yeah.
It's possible, obviously, but I just can't see it. So give me the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like if we have to, if I whoever's recording next week and they have to start off that way, I think all of us are like, what the hell's happening
Yeah.
in Buffalo? So move along. Sunday night football again. This is meh. Sunday night football game could be interesting, could be bad. You got the Denver Broncos on the road against the Commanders. The Broncos are starting off at -6.5, over under 43.5, -325 on the money line. Nico, what are your thoughts on looking at this one?
Yeah, I actually like Washington in this game, and the reason why I lean Washington is I like Dan Quinn and I like good coaches off a bye. I had said it earlier. I just like when you have extra time to prepare. I really think it prepares the team. I wouldn't be surprised if Washington actually just wins this game outright. Denver's been letting teams hang around and they're due
Yeah.
to lose, and I think this is the game where they get caught.
Yeah, I don't hate that either. Again, I have my and you've seen in our group chat. I've had mixed feelings about Denver this year. I think their defense is really solid, but my concern with them is their offense and their inconsistencies. Uh, where like one week they can drop 30 again. Like I see them in a quarter against the Giants, and the next week the Bo Nix looks like he doesn't know what he's doing. And again, just winning these close games. I think they can get caught off guard here against this Commanders team off the bye. I agree with you. I like the Commanders here and covering the spread. Again, the Broncos could win a close one. They could win by a field goal. Like they've been winning close games all year, letting teams hang in there. But I like the Commanders. I agree with you there. Ending our pick'ems and then wrapping up this edition of the podcast. We got my New York Football Giants on the road against the New England Patriots. The Patriots are a touchdown favorite right now, over under 46.5, -410 on the money line. I don't know if Jackson Dart will be back. I think he's looking in that direction, especially with the extra day. He should be trending in the right direction. Um, but if Witz starts here, I like the Giants and I like them covering. I think Patriots will probably keep this one a close one. I don't know if it's going to be a blowout. We'll see what Nico's ideas are. I think it's going to be. Oh wait, but again, Bowen's gone. We'll see what this defense is like. I've liked what I've seen from this offense these last few weeks from the Giants and some of the moments from the defense. So I wouldn't be surprised if they catch Drake May and this Patriots team off guard. I know they're very well coached, Vrabel. I wish he was the head coach of the Giants, but we missed that window. But I like the Giants covering here in probably a close game against New England. Hopefully, Nico, your thoughts?
I'm gonna go with the Patriots.
Mm,
I really am. Obviously I'm hoping for a nice primetime old school Patriots Giants matchup, but I don't know if we'll get that. I really think Drake May goes out and dominates that secondary of the New York Giants. I'm curious to see though how that offensive line of the Patriots holds up against the Giants defensive line. But like you mentioned, not I want Dart to come back. Dart is fantastic, but I just love watching Jameis Winston. I
I think
just
we
hope
all
the
do.
whole
Yeah.
country gets to experience him in primetime football again because it's just such a treat when you have Jameis Winston.
It is, and I really wish, and this is where I think Dable got it wrong, and we're gonna wrap the podcast shortly after this, is that I really wish Winston started the first 3 weeks of the season, then we went the Dart. Like I really wonder what would have happened if we used Jameis. And Jameis was the guy I think Russell we just like paid and then hoped that we just kind of like put him in there because of his namesake, and we really should have put Winston because you can tell that spark continues with Winston when Dart's out, and that team was so flat
Yep.
when Russell was there. But again, I agree. Like, I won't be upset if they're like, you know what, Dart, we're gonna sit you one more week just to like make sure you are right. We are not pushing you back on the field. Like, we're not rushing you back. Winston's proven himself that he can that he can do just a fine enough job. So we'll see what happens. But again, hopefully for me, I catch a good game. I close game, and I or I really just can't watch another 10-point comeback. I will lose my mind. But with that, we'll wrap up this shit of this yards after the catch. Again, Nico, thank you for your time today. I know it's just two of
Great
us, but
time.
we got a great time to talk football. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. It's a great time. Thanks for having me.
And for everyone listening, again, have a happy, healthy Thanksgiving with your loved ones. If you celebrate it, enjoy some football and be on the lookout for the next episode of Yards After the Catch. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.